Eventually, after riding for over an hour, we stopped. I wobbled, holding on to my sack, as Pablo helped me down onto the squelchy ground. All ground was the stench of horse manure and wood smoke. The sky held no stars and was blacker than the mud at my feet. "Where are we?" I asked. "Raw Green, just outside Cawthorne," Pablo replied. "A town?" I asked. "No, we're a ways from Bradfield now, boy. We've set up in a good spot for a few days." He ties his horse up to a
There used to be an empty chair at the back of my classroom. It wasn't a special chair, it was just empty because there was no one sitting in it. But then, one day, just 3 weeks after school started, the most exciting thing that could ever happen to anyone happened to me and my 3 best friends. And it all began with that chair. Usually, the best thing about starting a brand new term is that you get extra pocket money to buy new stationery.
The Wild Robot. Chapter 1. The Ocean. Our story begins on the ocean with wind and rain and thunder and lightning and waves. A hurricane roared and raged through the night, and in the middle of the chaos, a cargo ship was sinking. Down, down, down to the ocean floor. The ships left hundreds of crates floating on the surface, but as the hurricanes thrashed and swirled and knocked them around, the crates also began sinking to the depths. One after another, they were swallowed up by the waves until only 5 crates
After the winter festival, the island was in turmoil. Word had spread about Kenneth's supporters, and people were becoming mistrustful and even fearful of each other, especially those with cursed unicorns. Rumours about an evacuation of the island were rife. However, the Hatchery Herald was unyielding in its support for Rex Manning and damning in its judgment of the original world rider Kenneth Smith. It declared that her capture by the Commodore was imminent.
No, this is terrible. I said pink carnations. If I wanted red ones, I would have asked for red ones, yells my Auntie Bindi. She makes a right racket. Her fists are clenched and her face is turning a funny purpley colour. I'm a bit worried that her head might actually erupt in a big purple slime explosion as she screams at the flower delivery man. This is already the 3rd time she's sent the poor man back, and he looks like he's going to cry. I slump in the chair and bury.
Have you seen this, Skipper? Have you seen this? Dave whipped out a sheet of card from his sling. The card was decorated in gold ink and swirly writing, and now jam and crumbs from being stuffed in the same place my best friend stashed his biscuit snacks. Through the blur of Dave's flapping feathers as he waved the card under my beak, I could just about read it was an invitation for a party at the Royal Human Palace. "It's an invitation for a party that happened yesterday, Dave," I said.
The noise was deafening. Shouting, screaming, laughing, shrieking. It was so thunderous I thought my head was about to explode. I took a deep breath, breathed out, inhaled again, then dipped down until my head was completely underwater. Silence. Peace. It was like a radio being switched off. I sat down at the bottom of the swimming pool and opened my eyes. The chlorine in the water stung, but better than not seeing what was coming and being kicked in the face.
Once, I was living in an orphanage in the mountains, and I shouldn't have been, and I almost caused a riot. It was because of the carrot. You know how when a nun serves you very hot soup from a big metal pot and she makes you lean in close so she doesn't drip, and the steam from the pot makes your glasses go all misty and you can't wipe them because you're holding your dinner bowl, and the fog doesn't even clear even when you pray to God, Jesus, the Virgin Mary, the Pope and Adolf Hitler? That's happening to me.
Long ago, on the wild and windy Isle of Burke, a small Viking with a longish name stood up to his ankles in snow. Hiccup, horrendous Haddock III, the hope and heir to the tribe of the hairy hooligans, had been feeling slightly sick ever since he woke up that morning. 10 boys, including Hiccup, were hoping to become full members of the tribe by passing the dragon initiation programme. They were standing on a bleak little beach at the bleakest spot on the whole bleak island. A heavy snow was falling.
Brr, this is a wicked one, said Lola's mum as they drove through the storm. The road home from Grandma's house took them deep into the forest. Thunder rattled the dark sky overhead. You guys all right back there? Lola glanced up at her little brother Noah in his car seat. Yep, she called back, even though she was a tiny bit scared. She knew it was silly.
Barbara was in a very bad mood. I am not, she said, but she was. It had started in the morning because of the sock problem, and at lunchtime there had been a strange pee. Then Barbara stepped on a crack, which she had been trying very hard not to do. Things were going from bad to worse.
Once there was a boy, and the boy loved stars very much. Every night the boy watched the stars from his window and wished he had one of his very own. He dreamed of how this star would be his friend. They would play hide and go seek, and they would take long walks together.
Jason hated being old. His joints hurt, his legs shook as he tried to climb the hill, his lungs rattled like a box of rocks. He couldn't see his face, thank goodness, but his fingers were gnarled and bony. Bulging blue veins webbed to the backs of his hands. He even had that old man's smell, mothballs and chicken soup. How was that possible? He'd gone from 16 to 75 in a matter of seconds. But the old man smell happened instantly.